Hello from Jack Trice Stadium. This is the Cyclone Insider Show. He's Eugene Rapay. I am Travis Hines. We work for the Des Moines Register, and we are here to talk about Iowa State football, which has now lost 4 games in a row. The most recent one, a 24-19 loss to Arizona State. We're going to talk a lot about the game here shortly, but I do want to start with talking about Ben Bramer, who suffered a very scary injury and was, some very, very frightening moments, frankly, at Jack Trice Stadium today. Is carted off the field on a stretcher, goes to Mary Greeley Hospital. Iowa State says, I guess that was probably about 5:30 p.m. Central, that he had been treated and released from the hospital. So obviously that is very, very good news for Ben Bramer. We don't have any specifics on exactly what the injury was, what happened on the field, or what his prognosis going forward is, but certainly it would appear that the biggest concerns and the largest fears of in that moment are thankfully not going to come true, and that Ben Bramer is on the mend. I think we'll get more information about what happened and where Ben is on Tuesday when we talk to Campbell next, but scary situation, seems to be in an okay spot, obviously, all things considered right now. Let's talk a little bit about the game, Eugene. Bad performance by Iowa State. 4 games in a row. I think I've been saying this now for a couple weeks, and it's only being reinforced. This is a mediocre football team playing mediocre football. They have the ability to play higher. They got the ability to play lower, and they're just living in that bottom 25%, it feels like, of who they can be. And now really, are they going to get bowl eligible? I think so, but I didn't think it would be a question when they were 5-0 a month ago. So which you want to go big picture or little picture first? Probably should just talk about the game.
Let's start with the game. Yeah.
Arizona State, backup quarterback, doesn't have its star wide receiver. A guy named Jeff Sims, who I think last started a game or won a game in 2022 for either Nebraska or Georgia Tech, runs for 228 yards, passes for another 177, turns it over 3 times, and Iowa State loses. Rough showing, man. You take it away.
That to me was just kind of one of the biggest, most baffling things about this Iowa State team. They got the opportunities. They finally got the turnovers. It felt like we've been talking about this in past losses. Like, when was the last time they got a turnover? When was the last time that they had forced anything? And outside of being gift-wrapped a fumble against Cincinnati where they dropped the option pitch, this was the first time they forced a turnover, and then they end up getting 3 of them, and they can't capitalize. The red zone issues reared its ugly head again. Same with the third down conversions where they went 2 for 14. Offense is just out of sync, out of whack. And then the defense, they have their moments, but then they give up those big plays like that 88-yard run to Sims. And right now this team, which once prided itself on complimentary football, is just struggling to find an identity or struggling to find a solution, really.
Yeah, I think let's just talk about Rocco. I think there is a lot of I don't know what's the word for it. Rocco is not playing very good football right now. He's not playing as good a football as we've seen him play over 2 seasons. Today, 18 of 36, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, throws a pick. Is the play immediately after watching one of his best friends be carted off the field. So I think okay, whatever. But missing throws, not on the same page as his wide receivers for multiple weeks now. Just not the caliber of player that we have seen him be for 2 years when he had Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, and for the first 5 wins of this season when he played really good football. I think got off to a rough start at K-State, but then I think had been pretty good throughout there. And even the BYU played really well until he didn't. And it's just, there's something going on there where it really seems like in these 4 games and these 4 losses, he's just not been himself. And he obviously took those big hits against Cincinnati, took a big hit against Arizona, the last game they won. So I don't know if there's lingering injury issues there, but this has just not been the same quarterback that we have grown accustomed to seeing in the number 3 Iowa State jersey.
I agree. And this is why we're at the point now where I believe that it's beyond the injuries. Like some people can point to the injuries or, who's out and whatnot. But when Rocco Becht, who had been just kind of like a mainstay at quarterback and just you could rely on him to take over a game or command the offense, he just hasn't had the same touch over these last 4 losses. It feels like he used to have such accurate placement, such great touch on the ball. And now he's either overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys. Sometimes he's there on the mark, but it's just wildly inconsistent, which is something that you're not used to seeing when it comes to Rocco.
Yeah, and I don't think Iowa State needs to make a quarterback change. Obviously, I don't get to go to practice, so I have no idea really how good Alex Mansky or Connor Moberly are. But my suspicion would be that a true freshman and a redshirt freshman are not going to make Iowa State a better football team than their third-year starter. That is my assumption. And so again, I am not saying that Iowa State should even really consider making a quarterback change. But I think that can be true while also saying Rocco Becht needs to play better for Iowa State to have better chances to win football games. I think he's given them an opportunity in some of these losses to win the game. But today was not one of those. He did not put them in a better position to win the game that even we've seen him do even in losses. Lackluster performance. And talking to him after the game, I think, it was a little jarring to see, frankly, a guy shaken up, and certainly a big part of that is Ben Bramer, without a doubt. Part of that is losing 4 football games. But it looked like a guy without answers. Somebody asked him how he played today. And Rocco is usually very verbose in the way that he talks and the way that he answers questions and the way that he discusses football. And all he said is, not good enough. That's all I got. And I didn't take that as I'm going to give a short, clipped answer to show these reporters that I don't answer to them. I took it as I don't got any answers, guys. I wish I had answers for you, but I don't have any. And I think that's probably the most concerning thing for Iowa State, is that you don't have answers and you clearly have a quarterback whose confidence appears to be shaken right now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's not like a lack of effort or anything like that. This guy is dying for answers and just doesn't have them at this moment. And right now the passing game, just not what Iowa State needs right now. And there were a few drops there. I wouldn't say it was entirely his fault today. Chase Sowell on that 3rd down conversion really jumped out at me. And then at the end there, when he caught the pass short but fell short by a yard when they were trying to salvage the game. So there were a couple of
could
tough
still win the game. There. They had the ball on the plus side of the 50 with a chance to win a game where they frankly did not play well at all. And they were still 1 score away from winning the damn game. But Chase Sowell falls down a yard short of the first down. And
then you get it to 1st and goal a couple of times and you just can't punch it in. That's beyond quarterback sometimes. That's the offensive line can't plow the way for a running back, things like that. Just lack of execution there.
And again, I think what's got to be this, I think being a terrible football team is one thing, and it's no fun. I've covered terrible football teams. I've been around terrible football teams. It's awful for everybody. This is not a terrible football team, but part of it has to be a little extra torturous for Iowa State to know they're not terrible, to just be stuck in this middle ground after the success of last year. A lot of these guys won 11 games last year. And then you start out 5-0 with what looked like really good wins, and that you were steamrolling your way to Arlington. And now you've lost to a good Cincinnati team, a Colorado team that fell behind 43-0 at halftime, the game after they beat you, a very good BYU team, and now a very mediocre Arizona State team without 2 of its best players. It's just a bad spot, man. I don't know. How do you arrest this and turn it back the other way with 3 games left? That's the big question, because you're not playing for a Big 12 title. You're not playing for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You're not playing for your pride and bowl eligibility and maybe a spot up the pecking order in the bowl eligibility. But, are they got 3 games left? They're probably going to be favored in how many of them? They're not going to be favored against TCU, I don't think. Kansas at home?
Maybe. Definitely Oklahoma State, but you don't want that to be your only gimme. You don't want that to be the only win.
No, I mean, like, there is not a scenario now. I mean, short of winning out and winning 8 games and going to an okay bowl game, like, this is going to be a massively disappointing campaign. I think 8 wins gets you back to disappointing, but hey, sometimes the ball doesn't go your way. If you're at 6 or 7 wins here or worse, like, I mean, that's self-reflection time, program reflection time, in a major way. Not in that like there's something wrong with the program, but more about like, how did we take this team and go from 5-0 to where they are right now, and potentially the darker places they maybe could go.
And like you mentioned before, I think to me that's one of the more baffling things. Like, Iowa State still has the pieces, the playmakers. Like, there are stretches of games and glimpses where it's like, you look at the first half of the BYU game. Like, if you could do that against BYU, but then you just shoot yourself in the foot with turnovers and various miscues. It's like, at one end, you could see the prompts. You could see that they could be like a 7-8 win team or like climb out of the hole, but then they just fall right back into it. And it's a different way each time. It's never like this one thing. It's just a varying aspect of the game where they just kind of fall short and then they kind of cost themselves.
Well, and like Campbell said after the game, they feel like they're playing 70% really good football and 30% mistakes, which I'm not going to quibble with Matt's math there.
Yeah.
But my point would be, I believe that against BYU, I thought they played pretty damn good football. Certainly went in the right direction from the Colorado loss, and then undid a lot of the good things with big mistakes. I think that is true. I don't think that's true today. I thought they played poorly all day long, and you kept seeing them make mistakes. You kept seeing the offense stall out. You saw the defense not tackle well, or really even be able to contain. I mean, is it fair to call Jeff Sims one-dimensional when he runs it 29 times and throws it 24 times? I mean, so I think like I don't think that's a fair representation of today. I don't think they played good football 70% of the time. I thought they played pretty average or worse football about 100% of the time. And I think, like, to me, that is the more concerning part, because I thought BYU was a step in the right direction. This is not a step in the right direction to me. Like, and Campbell said again after the game, he didn't think that they were plateauing and that he didn't think that they were getting worse. I don't know how you can say that leaves getting better, and I don't think that that's true at all. I don't know how you could really say that, which tells you, like, I don't think Campbell maybe he partially believes that, but my guess is that's coach speak, and when you're having to kind of grapple with reality with what you have to tell the public, like, that kind of shows you that it's in a tough spot. Am I wrong? I mean, like, I don't know how you can credibly say this football team's getting better.
No, I agree. And especially also just that BYU game, like, I felt like the way that they performed last week, especially with Arizona State being as injured as they were once the injury report was coming out, this felt like it had all the makings of a bounce back win. Even Vegas had the line shifted towards Iowa State's way.
It was like 8 points, 8.5 points.
And then you just saw kind of more of the same offensive struggles, red zone struggles, third down struggles. And it just it was really uninspiring. Like, I don't think that there was really a moment where you kind of saw promise. Like, against BYU, you saw promise. Like, there were moments where there was promise. This time around, I mean, outside of, like, the defense somehow mustering 3 turnovers to still put yourself in position to somehow snatch the game, it wasn't really all that inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, the defense forced 3 turnovers, and Iowa State had a 100-yard rusher and Carson Hansen going for 113 and lost. And they lost by a touchdown in a game where it felt like Arizona State had control of the thing from start to finish. I mean, it was a miracle that they had a chance on that last drive. And then again, like, it's going to drive I know that this is going to drive, like, fans crazy. This so well falling a yard short on 4th down. I mean, that's killer. Like, they probably weren't going to score. I mean, I guess put it under 50% chance, but that's a tough way to end the game.
And he had space and room.
Space and room. And again, like we talked about Rocco, but what are they getting from the wide receivers? I mean, multiple drops again today. Like, who is their best wide receiver? Is it Chase Sowell? Is it Brett Eskelson? Those are your 2 options, I suppose. Sowell has had moments, but it's been wildly inconsistent. I think the same thing goes for Brett Eskelson. Like, they just, like, you can hammer Rocco for his play, and I think that that's fair. But I also think you got to look at who he's throwing to. It has not been guys that have distinguished themselves as the heirs apparent to some really good wide receivers at Iowa State over the years.
Yeah, like who is the wide receiver one, and now you're down Ben Bramer for however long. So now that's another offensive receiving weapon gone.
Yeah, and like Bramer had 3 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown, but the tight ends have been minimized by defense going. Like Gabe Burkle, I mean, he's kind of disappeared the last few weeks, since he returned from injury, and I think he was playing at a super, super high level. Like, so where has that production gone? Eli Green had a catch today, but that again, another guy that showed up last year with pretty high expectations out of the transfer portal that just hasn't materialized. I think maybe that is, a talking point as much as anything, is that Iowa State has been excellent, top tier in its evaluation and recruitment of wide receivers in Matt Campbell's tenure. And now that we're in this transfer portal era, my suspicion would be the evaluations are the same. It's the answers you're getting from the players that are changing, where you're not going to Eastern Carolina and getting Higgins anymore, right? Like you're not going to a JUCO and getting Xavier Hutchinson out of spring practice anymore. Like that's just harder to do with how many eyes are on these guys, and more importantly, how much money the top transfer portal wide receivers are getting. That's my tangent on the wide receivers.
Yeah, no, and I think it's all valid. Right now, Iowa State just has an identity crisis across the board. Like, who are they?
Yeah, I don't think this is an awful football team. I just think it's an average football team, and average playing poorly gets you beat. It gets you beat by good teams like BYU and Cincinnati, and it gets you beat by a bad Colorado team and an Arizona State team that, given its injury situation, has no business beating you at home. And I think that's where Iowa State is right now. And again, I think the talent is there. We saw it in 5 games that this team can get their act together. But Eugene, I mean, we've talked about this a ton over the last few weeks. During that 5-0 stretch, the word that I just said, the professionalism, that this team even-keeled, produces in the face of adversity, in the face of everything that was getting thrown at them. They stayed steady. Now we're seeing penalties, turnovers, just everything that they weren't doing to the negative before, it seems like, is showing up now. And this team is just, I mean, it feels like night and day the way that they are navigating these 60 minutes of football.
And on top of that, we're seeing the ugliness of what happens when 1 loss becomes 2, and then 3, and now 4, and just how crushed the team or the players look now after suffering this 4th straight one. Like, it doesn't feel the same as it once did after maybe they lost to Colorado, and then there was kind of like resolve or like determination to turn around. Now it's just kind of I don't want to say resignation, but there seems to be like a little doubt seeping in what is going on? Like, I wish we had the same answers. Like, it's like I wish we had an answer for you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, they have identified, I think, a lot of things that they're not executing on, and they keep not executing on them. So, what does that tell you? Are they unable to execute on that? I mean, the evidence speaks for itself, I think, at this point. And they're running out of time to turn it around. Like, it's got to be. They've got one more bye week, but you got TCU next week, bye, and then KU and Oklahoma State. And man, like, it can only get marginal. Like, this is, I think, the scary part here. It can only get marginally better, right? Like we just talked about, if they win out and go 8-5, or 8-4, excuse me, like, okay, fine, cool. It can get a lot worse. It can be 5-7.
Like, it can crash through the floor, which is a scary. Like, that's a more scary reality than winning out.
Yes, it is. Like, it can be 5-7, or 6 wins with you're beating a team that got Mike Gundy fired after 20 years. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that's kind of hovering right now that we probably hadn't articulated, is that the best it can get is only a little bit better, and the as worst it can get is a whole lot worse. Like, and I think that is my suspicion that's kind of hovering over the program right now, and it's up to them to figure it out and turn it around in a big way. Like going into a bye week, losing 5 straight games, whoof, that ain't going to be fun. But I mean, I think they can beat TCU next week, but not playing how they played today or how they played against Colorado or Cincinnati.
And that's the thing. Like they're just not. They have the pieces, but if you're going to play average or below average, it's not going to get you anywhere.
What else do we need to talk about? Kyle Conradi, kind of an up and down game, misses from 49 and 55. Wet conditions. Special teams was tough, I think, for both teams today with a wet field and a wet ball.
I also excuse that
because he kicked it off the ground.
I excuse the second field goal miss because they did not set him up for success there. You get the turnover, you get the pick, you return it to the other side. You got 8 seconds to run a play. In my mind, I was thinking, they're going to hand it off for a run. Maybe best case scenario, you get like 5-6 yards, and now you're even closer. But then they throw a pass. They do a pass play that ends up nowhere, so they got to throw it away. And now all of a sudden, you're sending Kyle Conradi to kick a 55-yarder in the rain, wet ball, wet ground. He's clearly not 100%. Just was not set up for success on that one.
And you were running the ball well today. That should have been a run. It just should have been. It should have either been a run or a pass that you throw out of bounds in 2 to 3 seconds. So then because they had a timeout at that point, right?
Yeah, they still had timeouts. Yeah.
So it's just not a great moment there. No. Anything else? What else we got to talk about?
I think it's just onwards to TCU.
Basketball starts on Monday.
Basketball does start on Monday. Against FDU. You can't call them by their government name anymore. It's just FDU.
Iowa State football loses to Arizona State 24-19. Cyclones have now lost 4 in a row, are stuck on 5-4 overall and 2-4 in the Big 12. TCU is the opponent on Saturday in Fort Worth. If basketball is more your thing, we've got, I believe, 2 games on Monday. I think the women play at 11 and the men play at 7. We'll have plenty of coverage of everything Cyclone for you at DesMoinesRegister.com. He's Eugene. I'm Travis. We work for the Des Moines Register. This has been the Cyclone Insider Show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will catch you next time.